CanAm presents the Canadian Universities and Colleges Conclave as a part of the CanAm webinar series from 27 to 29. That's a 3-day conclave. And today is the first day and the third session for the day. A quick introduction into who's CanAm. At CanAm, we've been pioneers in career counseling for students headed to Canada for almost a quarter century now. Students, please listen to the videos on our website to hear what top universities and colleges have to say about CanAm counselors, our services, about their own programs, what kind of flexibilities they're offering during the COVID-19 situation, the scholarships that they offer, and all of that. CanAm has been very special to Canada. We've been sending a large number of quality students to Canada. Anurag Sandhu, our CEO, is an ICCRC member, Immigration Consultants of Canada Regulatory Council, which means that he's a regulated Canadian government licensed consultant for guidance on visa and permanent residency processes. Now, students who headed to Canada definitely need the services of a licensed immigration consultant to help with their advice on study permits. But in addition to that, most students who are headed to Canada do look for the Canadian work experience after the Canadian study, and then do look at an opportunity for permanent residency. So if that be the case, you need to be career smart. You need to plan your whole career smartly. You need to identify what are the various permanent residency options that Canada offers, and where would you qualify? How would you likely qualify after you finish your study and maybe with some work experience? So which region gives you what kinds of provincial nominee programs? What is better for international students? How would you fit into the whole thing with the kind of profile that you have, the skill that you might acquire after finishing a particular field of study? Which skills are lacking in which region? Where are they looking for more people with those kind of skills? Now, all of that information can really be consulted only by a licensed immigration consultant. And at CanAm, we can claim this rare combination of long and licensed experience of promoting Canadian education, careers, and pathways to permanent residency in Canada. So our advice to you always would be, please do not seek visa assistance or PR guidance from unlicensed agents. CanAm is one of the largest overseas education consulting companies with a network of offices in over 30 locations across India and in Toronto, Canada. We give career advice to over 2 lakh students and professionals each year, and process about 75,000 applications for university and college admissions in Canada. Our artificial intelligence-driven platform, iApply, has contributed significantly to these numbers this year, especially being a pandemic year. In fact, grateful thanks to all our university and college partners who have supported us in our various activities. We've done about 90 live webinars with question and answer sessions. We've shot for about 150 odd videos with universities and colleges. And thanks to all of their efforts and their contribution, we've been able to reach out to so many students across India. And in fact, even this conclave, we've had almost about 10,000 students registering for this conclave for the various 8 sessions that we have. So thank you all. Our free services, yes, CanAm services are free of cost, and they include live interaction with delegates through webinars, visits, web fairs, conclaves, what have you, career counseling, admission services, getting application fee waivers where possible, visa guidance, providing scholarship options where possible, and interview preparation where it's needed. So why this conclave? As leaders in promoting Canadian education for 2.5 decades, this conclave by CanAm is a logical step towards removing myths and clarifying a lot of frequently asked questions that have been confusing students all along for a lack of regulated guidance and licensed consultants in India. We thank all our panelists for taking time out of their zones and sharing this responsibility with us in reaching out to students and parents on 8 hot topics related to Canadian education. Promoting Canadian education with a global career perspective, this Canadian Universities and College Conclave focuses on Canadian education and skill development planning for Indian students and working professionals. The topic for this session is undergrad students choosing the right option, different pathways, direct bachelor's, associate degrees, diplomas. So with that, I come to the list of panelists today, which I'm announcing in alphabetical order. First panelist, Aaron Cow, Manager of Operations and Business Development, International Recruitment, RCIC member, University of New Brunswick, Fredericton, NB. As a former international student and a UNB alumnus, Aaron works at the International Recruitment Center of the University of New Brunswick. As the manager of operations and business development, he holds a prestigious MBA degree from UNB and is also a RCIC, regulated Canadian immigration consultant, with almost a decade of experience in the Canadian immigration field. Welcome, Aaron. Our second panelist for today is Adhiraj Gill, International Recruitment Manager, University of Lethbridge, Alberta. Adhiraj has been an international student for over 5 years while completing a bachelor's degree in New Zealand and a master's degree in Canada. Adhiraj volunteered regularly during his time at university at the International Center, helping other incoming international students get their bearings and develop familiarity with their new home and surroundings. He has lived in 3 different continents, recruiting students to study in Canada. He recently joined the University of Lethbridge to oversee international recruitment for the university. Welcome, Adhiraj. Our next panelist, Angel Lam, Director of Marketing and Recruitment, Ryerson University International College, RUIC, Toronto, Ontario. With an MBA and a Bachelor of Arts, Angel has 22 years of valuable experience in the education sector in Australia. She was part of a mission from the Victorian government schools to explore opportunities to recruit students from China and successfully recruited students. Making a decision to study overseas is daunting for some students, and she always shares her past experience as an international student with them. She is confident and proud of her contribution to the first step of the students' lives. Thank you for being here, Angel.
Thank you, Ganga. Nice to see you all.
Same here. So fourth panelist for today, Ashley Dunlop, Director, Student Recruitment, University of Winnipeg, Manitoba. Ashley is the University of Winnipeg's Director of Recruitment, Admissions and International Student Services, overseeing a team of dedicated employees engaged with every aspect of the international student experience. She's also a regulated international student immigration advisor, commonly referred to as RISIA. Welcome, Ashley.
Thank you, Ganga.
Fifth panelist for today is Basil Ma, first year advisor and recruiter, UPEI, University of Prince Edward Island, Prince Edward Island. Located in Charlottetown, the birthplace of Confederation and the capital city of Prince Edward Island, the University of Prince Edward Island has a rich history with roots in 2 founding institutions, Prince of Wales College, established in 1834, and St. Dunstan's University, established in 1855. Formed in 1969 as the provincial university, UPI honors its proud legacy through academic excellence and research innovation. Basil is their first year advisor and recruiter. Welcome, Basil. Our sixth panelist for today, Karuna Osman, recruitment specialist, University of Waterloo, Ontario. With 23 years experience in international student recruitment and 30 years of teaching experience, Karuna has an enthusiasm for all aspects of international education. She has helped thousands of students pursue their education in Canada and is known around the world as the expert on studying in Canada. With experience in international student recruitment, capacity building, marketing, international partnership development, and market analysis, she speaks 4 languages and is equally comfortable speaking to a student as to a foreign dignitary or a university president. She has traveled with the Prime Minister of Canada and various government officials on trade missions and is an international advocate for Canada as a study destination. Welcome, Karuna.
Thank you.
Now for the question answers, yes, please click on the chat button and on your screen, type in your WhatsApp number, your name and the city that you're located in. An expert Can-Am counselor closest to your location will contact you. And if your question is absolutely unique, we'll pick it up for one of the panelists to answer. Thank you for joining in. And with that, over to the panelists. Okay, I recently read an interesting news item. Many years after their high school graduation, 86 national school board toppers in India were tracked down by the Indian Express, a well-known newspaper, as a part of their 4-month investigation. They found that the most common refrain of these toppers was the schools stuck to textbook didn't prepare us for challenges outside. Many toppers said they wish someone in school had briefed them better on options available post-school, loan programs, and should have helped them with choice of colleges and careers, in the absence of which many of them ended up majoring in conventional disciplines before discovering their real interest. If both toppers feel like that, imagine the plight of the others. At CanAm, our focus has always been student-centric counseling. Today, we bring to you an expert panel to give you insights towards planning your career ahead. My first panelist, Karuna, who's a recruitment specialist at University of Waterloo. As home to the world's largest post-secondary cooperative education program, the University of Waterloo in Waterloo, Canada ranks among the top universities in the world and encourages enterprising partnerships in learning, research, and commercialization. As a recruitment specialist who travels the world speaking to Year 12 students and their parents, Karuna, what kind of students would be the right fit for studying at a very high-ranking university like Waterloo? What are the challenges they would face during the 4 years? And how best should they be prepared to face these challenges?
Thank you very much for this question. Actually, a very becoming question because students feel that University of Waterloo is an unapproachable university and they are not going to get in. So first, I want to take the myth out of that. We have a very large number of Indian students coming to our university, very qualified student, and the largest from CanAm. So I wanted to give a shout out to you and your work. The kind of student we're looking for is a holistic, balanced student who has not only great marks, but has done extra things, because we do not want SOPs and we don't want letters of reference. We want the student to give us what have they done besides taking classes in math, physics, and chemistry or biology or whatever. One of the things that you have to remember for University of Waterloo is that the competition for the seats is keen because of the cooperative education program. To choose a program at University of Waterloo, don't just choose one. We have many overlapping programs, and the kind of student I'm looking for is one who is dedicated to education and doesn't mind competing with other students. We are not a cakewalk. When you come to our university, you will be studying very hard, but you will be developing skill sets. We have very large employability rate. We prepare students for the job market. So we're an academic, hands-on, theoretical university looking for top students. And we have 6 faculties. Some faculties will take students from 85, but big faculties like biomedical engineering or computer science program is requiring 95 or better. So I'm looking for talent, looking for balanced, and looking for students who are happy to learn.
Thank you, Karuna. My next question is to Ashley Dunlop, Director of Student Recruitment, University of Winnipeg. Now, centrally located in the heart of downtown Winnipeg, the University of Winnipeg is a thriving community of approximately 10,000 students noted for academic excellence, Indigenous scholarship, environmental commitment, small class sizes, and campus diversity. Actually, not many universities across Canada offer 3 or 4 year bachelor's degrees. Mostly they offer 4 years degrees, but you also offer 3 years degrees. A lot of Indian students wanting a bachelor's degree but cannot afford 4 years tuition do choose your 3 year degrees. Tell us how 3 or 4 years degrees at a small size university such as yours can be a successful option. Also, what is the benefit of your pre-professional programs?
Thank you very much, Ganga, for the question, and welcome everyone. Thank you for joining. As many students here may know, but if you don't, it's important to know that post-secondary education in Canada is regulated by the provinces. So while immigration is a federal Canadian government responsibility, so everybody has to go through the same process for study permits when they enter Canada, there is a large diversity between different regions because provincial governments are responsible for the university studies in their regions. And so in Manitoba, one of the unique features about us as a province is not only for international students, but also for Canadian students as well, is that we do offer both 3 and 4 year bachelor's degrees. As Ganga mentioned, is quite unique in the marketplace. I'm very pleased to see everybody who has joined this panel who is looking for different options, because a very important thing about studying and choosing your program is making sure that you choose the program that makes the best fit for you based on your goals, based on your finances, based on your commitment, and your ultimate career goals. And so as the University of Winnipeg, we love partnering with CanAm because we know they have so many options and they can do
such an excellent job of matching students with the institution, the program that is a best fit for their whole profile. For us, we do have a lot of international students who are interested in our 3-year bachelor's programs. What 3-year bachelor's programs are is that students graduate with a full university degree that is recognized across Canada. And the focus on the 3-year bachelor's degrees is really obtaining the skills that are needed to enter the workforce. So when students graduate, for example, with a 3-year bachelor's degree in applied computer science, they have the qualifications to get a job that requires a university degree, and often will be looking at entry-level positions such as, a programmer or a database developer. So very focused on workplace. We also offer 4-year options in most of our programs, and that would be for students who are very academic focused, who are potentially interested in research, in going on to do a master's program, and for staying focused in a bit more of the academic, maybe going more into the research. So a lot of flexibility depending on students' career goals. One really nice feature of it is that a 3-year program will ladder into a 4-year program. So we often have students who are really stressing, am I going to do 3 years? Am I going to do 4 years? And we tell them that this is okay to not know specifically when you apply. You may start your program in psychology and realize that you are so engaged in research and you want to go on, you want to become a clinical psychologist. So there are options that you're going to discover as a student based on your interactions with faculty and what your interests are. Really, the focus there is depending on job incomes and the student's pathway. I will briefly talk about pre-professional programs because it is one that I get asked all the time when we are allowed to come to the Can-Am roadshows and meet with students in person. So a lot of Indian students will have goals about programs like doctor, dentist, lawyer, and some of the careers that they've heard about. In Canada, the system is very similar to the US as well, where students do not go directly into these fields from high school. So, for example, to apply to medical school, you need a minimum of 3 or 4 years of undergraduate university level study to be able to apply to these programs. What we offer is a host of programs like pre-medicine, pre-law, pre-dentistry that help students meet the requirements of those degrees. The most important thing, though, is for students to have very clear eyes about the competitiveness and the availability of professional programs to international students in Canada. Medicine, law, dentistry is incredibly competitive, even for Canadian students. And so when for international students, often the seats are much more limited for them. And so we always like to say that when you're doing a pre-professional program, you're still making progress towards a degree. So if you're doing a pre-medicine program, you're working on a Bachelor of Science degree. So it's really important for students who do have these very aspirational career goals to also make sure that they have a backup plan. So if your medicine career doesn't work out, you have a strong background in sciences and have a lot of other options available to you, similar to law or some of the other areas. So thank you for giving me the chance just to brief students a little bit about that, because I know it is something that even Canadian students don't know when they're in high school, kind of how it works. So thank you.
Thanks, Ashley. If you could just tell the students also the difference between the 3-year and the 4-year bachelor's in terms of applying for a master's degree or in terms of applying for a job. How do employers see it differently, or how do university masters admissions officers see it differently?
That's great. In terms of employment, that would not be a distinction for most jobs. The requirement typically for jobs is to have a university degree, and your university degree plus your combination of work experience, if you've done a co-op, other extracurriculars, will get you that foot in the door. The 4-year degree, though, is very important. go on to a master's program, because that is going to give you those very important research and just extra high level analytical skills to be able to be successful in a postgraduate program.
Thank you so much. My next question is to Bessel. Bessel, as a first-year recruiter, you help new incoming students to choose their classes during their first year. You mentioned that the 3 most common questions that Indian students ask you are: 1, if they do not meet the subject requirements, then what should be done, especially maths in year 12? 2, can they change their program after they start? 3, what is cooperative education? Would you like to answer these for them today, please?
Sure. Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining us here today. We are so glad to be with CanAM as usual, a great partner that we've been working with for a long time. So thank you, Genga, for hosting us today. Regarding the questions that you asked, actually, these are really important questions to answer, and I've got many students who always wanted to apply for something, but they're missing 1 or 2 of the requirements. So basically, let's give an example. If a student wants to apply for a biology degree, but in their high school or their national exam, they were missing 1 science, because for the requirements for the biology program, we require 2 sciences, a math and an English, as part of the 5 requirements for this program. So if a student is missing 1 science and they are so interested in applying for biology, they can always apply for a different program, such as a program in arts or a program in business, and start in that program first. And in the first semester, what the students will do is they will take that missing course of science, and they will also take other classes from the biology program, from math, basically major required courses. And then in the second semester, if they pass that requirement, if they pass that science course, it's a very easy switch. There is a form online that students would fill out, and within 7 business days, their portal will be updated with a new program, and then they can continue with their studies as normal. So just to highlight things in this process is there's no extra time that you will be added to your studies. There's no extra cost that will be added to your studies. And it is all within the 4-year and the same cost of the program. Now, regarding changing a program or changing from 1 major to the other, usually students, we recommend students to, if they want to do the change, don't wait until your 3rd year, because it would be too late. So we recommend students usually within the first or maybe the first half of their 2nd year. That would be a good time to switch a major. So switching a major also isn't that hard. As long as you meet the requirements for the 2nd major that you are switching to, it should be a very easy process. And all the courses that you took in your first year will count as electives if they're not part of the new major. If they are part of the new major, you'll just continue your studies as normal. If there were some courses would count, the others won't. Those courses that won't count towards your core courses in the major, they will count as electives. And all students would have to take electives as part of their 4-year degree. So again, you're not missing on time. If you do it at the right time, you're not missing on time. You're not looking to take extra time at the university, and you're not looking to pay extra cost. Now, regarding the co-op program, so co-op stands for cooperative education, which is a mixed method of obtaining your degree by attending classes and also do a work term. Those work terms normally, and in the most cases, they are paid work terms. In some programs, they are more of internship. And again, depending on the program, most of UPEI programs, they do have a cooperative education. Usually students after their first year would apply for the co-op because you need a certain average in order to be accepted into the co-op. Co-op will give you basically the experience of real life work experience. You will also earn a salary based it's not a minimum wage job that you will get. Plus, you will build your connection with the community, because most of the co-op jobs would be offered within the community. There's no restriction on applying to jobs from a different province. So if a student is also studying at UPEI and they want to do a co-op term in Ottawa, for example, or in Toronto, they can still do that. But most of the jobs, we recommend students, if they are planning to stay, build your connection within the community, because that's what's going to give you the extra when you apply for jobs within the community, because you already had an experience working for a company here. Now, some programs you may not see co-op, such as our engineering program, the Sustainable Design Engineering program, which is one of the top programs here at the University of Prince Edward Island. They do have their own co-op built into the program. So students from year one, they will be working on real projects with real companies. They do have a start date, a due date, and a date to deliver, the first draft of the project. And then moving up with the years, your second, third, and fourth year, those projects, they will get bigger because the actual faculty work with local clients on their projects. And we have a small clinic, a medium clinic, and a large clinic project that students get the chance to work with these projects, and they also have the chance to earn the experience, and they have a better chance to get hired by those local companies when they graduate. So it's not called co-op just because it's built into the program. It is part of their studies. It's a very hands-on experience in this program, and that's what makes it a little bit different than the co-op. So this would cover my three questions. And again, I would like to thank you and thank everyone here.
Thank you so much. My next question goes to Adhiraj. One of Canada's leading research universities, University of Lethbridge, is one of 4 comprehensive academic and research universities in Alberta. With about 9,000 students, it's a small university. What is unique is it has a very well-known Dhillon School of Business, named after an Indo-Canadian Sikh businessman, Mr. Bob Dhillon. What is special about the Dhillon School of Business and its programs for an undergrad student?
Sure. So firstly, Ganga, thank you for organizing this conclave. It's a great initiative. Thank you for having us all here. Thank you to the students for showing up. With the Dhillon School of Business, as you rightly said, it's named after Bob Dhillon, who's an Indo-Canadian businessman. And his name is actually Navjeet Dhillon. He moved to Canada and I'll tell you a little bit, I'll start with a little bit more about him. He's a notable Canadian businessman, a philanthropist, as well as and a leading industry specialist when it comes to the real estate market in Canada. He started his career essentially by flipping property. So he started out small, bought 2 properties, sold it, got something bigger. He started with multi-family residential development units, and a couple of years ago, he sort of collaborated with the University of Lethbridge, and there was there was a decent donation given, and the University of Lethbridge, the business school, was named after him. Now, the Dhillon School of Business, himself being from overseas, he has a very clear-cut mandate to bring in more international students into the Dhillon School of Business. Essentially, the business school is about 1,700 students from 51 different countries. We have a very strong employment rate. So we are located in southern Alberta, which is in Lethbridge. We have approximately a 96% employment rate of our graduates, let's say within 6 months of graduating. And we have programs offered out of both of our campuses, which is Calgary as well as Lethbridge. And essentially for undergraduate students, there are three options. We have a bachelor's degree in management. There's also, you can do a double degree, like you can do a Bachelor of Management and a Bachelor of Fine Arts with, a program from another faculty. But for high school students, so they can start out with a bachelor's degree in management, which is a 4-year program. The other option is, let's say a student already has a bachelor's degree from overseas in India or any other country. They can do a second degree in management, which is an additional 1.5 to 2.5 years of study, and they get the Canadian Bachelor's of Management degree. We also have an option for students who've done a diploma overseas, let's say a 3-year diploma from India. They can come in and pursue another 1.5 to 2 years of study, and they can get, it's called a post-diploma program in management, which will give them, again, a Canadian bachelor's degree. Now, so we have a lot of flexible options in the sense that students, even if they have a bachelor's degree, they can come and do a top-up here, and they can essentially gain a Canadian bachelor's degree. So 6% of, we are an AACSP accredited business school, and only 6% of business schools globally have that accreditation. As I said earlier, about 1,700 students from 51 countries. We also have the Center for Market Research, Center for Financial Market Research and Training, which is the best equipped academic training center in Western Canada. And we have direct connections to global financial markets, which provide students hands-on trading in stocks, bonds, derivatives, risk management, and so on. Our degree, now we have co-op as well as integrated management experience. So co-op essentially, a student to gain some experiential learning or to gain some work experience as they study, they can either go in for a co-op program. A co-op would be around either, they have different options, so 4-month co-op, 8-month co-op, and a 12-month co-op. There's also, the integrated management experience, which is essentially sort of pro bono work where students work with a business in the community. They can gain some experience and, they can put that on their resume. And and other forms of experiential learning, apart from co-op and integrated management, one would be, we have students can take on research opportunities. They can travel for international conferences, international exchange programs. So students can also go to over 24 countries. The Dillon School of Business has exchange programs with over 24 countries. Now, students generally, like when they are, I mentioned about the Center for Financial Market Research and Teaching. So when students are trading, they have, they need not be using their own funds to learn trading. So we have a student management investment fund as well at the Dillon School of Business, where students can use funds from this allotment to learn more about trading. And in terms of scholarships, we do give out about, traditionally approximately around 400,000 in terms of scholarships to new incoming as well as existing undergraduate students. And so that's pretty much in a nutshell about the Dillon School of Business. We offer programs out of Calgary as well as Lethbridge, and generally now most of the students come and study in our Lethbridge campus.
That's interesting. Just one question, I'm curious, who enjoys the profits of the investments?
I think that goes back to the SMIF, to the Student Management Investment Fund.
I would assume so. Okay, thank you so much. And the next question goes to Aaron. Aaron, after COVID-19, science will never be the same again. Respect for scientists, dissemination of research, and forms of collaboration has increased for the better. Do you see a surge of interest in science, medical laboratory, and health science subjects at the undergraduate level at your university now? If yes, what is the scope for interested undergraduate students to get into scientific research at a university such as UNB?
Well, first of all, thank you very much for everyone joining us this evening, and thank you for the invitation from Can-Am. And as one of the most important partner, we appreciate your effort, and I enjoy working with you guys actually. Yes, so UNB, we established back in 1785 as one of the oldest English-speaking university in Canada. We have more than 75 programs available for a student to choose from on the undergraduate level. And traditionally, we are really, really strong in engineering and computer science because of the employment opportunity in this region, of course, immigration policies, and of course, affordable tuition and living costs as well. But yes, you are right, Ganga. We've seen, yes, a sharp increase of the interest from students about health science program, nursing program, and other health-related programs. I think the reason is probably because this ongoing pandemic, and that's why. Unfortunately, most of the, I think as other universities as well, most of the health, healthcare or health science programs are highly regulated in this country, in Canada, and there's a lot of regulatory bodies, they make policy regulate is just to make sure all the professionals are properly trained and they are doing everything all right, treating their patients. It is more challenging for international students to get in directly because they need a kind of approval or acceptance from those regulatory bodies as well before they can get to the program directly. That's why I think maybe most of the international students are interested in science to start with. And as other panelists mentioned, in Canada, university programs are quite flexible. So when you start with university here, you go to your academic advisors and you talk about your interest, and then the advisor will give you, advice and direct you to the right direction, right course to choose from. We do have a health science program as well and nursing, but highly, highly competitive, and because of the limited seats. And the one program I just want to mention is we just introduced a Bachelor of Health programs in fall 2020. Now we are having the first cohort with us as a university. So that is an interdisciplinary program and designed particularly for students interested in working for this healthcare sector. Not only for students who are looking for a stepstone to a medical school and become a doctor afterwards, but also for students who are looking for a potential career in healthcare, in a management team of a healthcare facility, for example, a hospital or senior home, or student looking for a career for a government or any non-for-profit policymakers, regulatory bodies, as I just mentioned, for example. So that might be a very, very good choice for students. And we are a very small university. We have about 12,000 students for 2 campuses in total. And the international students is 13% of the overall. So very good international population, very good diversity. And also I'm very proud to say we have very small class size. So 15:1 is the faculty and student ratio. So which means every one professor responds for 15 students. That's the second best in this country. So, with that small class size, UNB actually is one of the few universities in Canada could get undergraduate level students involved in real research projects. And of course, as other panelists mentioned, we have an excellent co-op program built into every faculty, health science, engineering, computer science as well. So students who are interested in co-op, not only learning in classroom, but also practicing in a real workplace, that might be a good choice as well.
Thank you, Aaron. So that brings me to Angel, Director of Marketing at RUIC. At Can-Am, we come across hundreds of students who aspire to study at their dream university, but either their grades don't match up, or maybe they don't have maths or some other subject in their year 12, or they want to start their program in May, which is not really a regular intake for universities. Enrolling for a university transfer program or UTP2 at top universities for such students really comes as a godsend to improve their academic entry and their academic outcomes. But the UTP pathway is the most misunderstood by parents. Angel, Navitas has been a pioneer of running pathway programs in university campuses around the world. Would you like to talk about what a UTP pathway and how do the pathway programs help students to achieve success at their dream universities in Canada?
Sure. Thank you for the question, Ganga, and welcome to everybody. So firstly, I would like to thank you, Kanam, for putting this conclave together. This is a great initiative and help a lot of students to understand more about the Canadian education. So thank you. To properly describe the University Transfer Program Stage 2, I think you can say that it is a pathway or a transitional program designed to promote international student success. So it offers a soft landing experience to students, like more hand-holding in the first year with one-on-one student support, smaller class size, not more than 30 students, and longer teaching hours. Both academic and personal support are designed to ensure the student's success to graduation at our university partners. So the first year's curriculum is actually the same as the university partners' first year programs. All academic subjects are taught by the same academic staff from the same university. And once student completes the UTP Stage 2 program and achieve the progression GPA, they will then progress to the second year of their undergraduate programs. So to give you an example, Ryerson University International College bases on Ryerson University's campus in downtown Toronto. At RUIC, that's how we make it as a short form, we don't require students to have maths as a prerequisite entry requirements for business management program. So students receive a joint offer letter from RUIC and Ryerson University. As we all know that May usually is not a usual intake for a lot of universities in Canada. But at RUIC, we actually have 3 intakes in a year. Students can start in January, in May, or even in September. And all students are able to use the university's resources, for example, library, or even on-campus accommodation, etc. At RUIC, it is part of the Ryerson University's community. So this is the answer I can provide to all the students who are interested in Pathway program. But last not the least, I want to say a big thank you to CanAm in providing professional advices to many of our students and recruited many students to our programs in Canada. And honestly, they all successfully progressed to our university partners. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to clarify this myth to all the students about Pathway programs.
Thank you, Angel. That's very helpful. There's a question from today's well-researched audience, and it's open to any of the panelists. Please go ahead and answer. What's the concept of choosing majors and minors in a bachelor's degree? Does it help towards better employability?
I can just add to that a little bit because we've already, majors and minors help you to fulfill your own desire. For example, you want to study business, but at the same time, you're interested in psychology. You haven't made up your mind. You're young, you are wanting to explore. Majors, for example, in University of Waterloo in the Honors Arts and Business, you can do major in business and you can do a major in psychology. And when you get out now, you've got 2 pathways for employability, and you've also figured out which pathway you really like. So majors help you in defining the actual program for yourself. And almost all of my colleagues here would be offering majors and minors in their degree. The name of the degree is Honors Arts and Business Psychology, or you can have a Bachelor of Arts degree with 2 majors, and they're not declared on your parchment, but you have it in your transcript and you're able to meet the needs that you have because you're not decided on exactly what you want to do. Okay.
So does it help towards employability?
Yes, it does. Definitely. You have got now 2 skill sets to take to an employer. You have 2 things that you can match. Now, students, let me just give you one more example. A student who is wanting to do gender studies may also do studies in sexuality problems within their the program. So what they're doing is they're bringing skill sets to a social work as a social work thing that I can do all of these skills. So it's in any 40 programs, 20 of them are needed for your degree so that your name of the degrees, then rest of them are, as my colleague said, electives your interest points, your other majors can make the degree really, really powerful. For example, political science and history together makes you an international development kind of a person. You can do so many things with your degree by taking electives, taking things, and then employer knows what you have, making you very, very qualified for employment.
Basil, you're going to say something?
Yes, I would just like to add. So basically, the minor is going to be basically your asset when you apply for a job. So everybody is going to have a business degree, but for example, if you're applying for a job that requires a finance specialization, that's when the minor basically is your asset. Plus, also for some of the professional programs, such as if you want to become a lawyer, so maybe you want to do two things. Maybe like you want to do a business degree, but you might also want to do a minor in political science, or maybe a minor in psychology or social studies, because these two would go great together if you are planning to go for a law degree. And this is only like one example, but it applies on other professional programs as well. That's the only thing that I wanted to add, basically.
Anyone else would like to add something?
I'd just add to that university programs in Canada are very flexible. If all of us took the same degree and had the same diploma handed to us, and after our 3 years or our 4 years of graduation, every single one of us would have taken different courses. Every major will have required courses that you have to take. If you want to go into applied computer science, you need to take a course in programming, or if you want to be an accountant, you have to take a course on tax law. But there's so much flexibility for students to define their own interests, and then to use that once they've graduated. Your resume, your degree tells one story. It tells that you got a Bachelor of Arts or Science or Engineering. And under that, you have your major and your minor. And then you have all the courses, if you want to pull them out, that apply to the jobs that you're looking for. And so Canadian system really allows students to have a lot of choice in what they would like to study. And every candidate for a job will bring different experience sort of as they present what they've done. So it's very nice, and I think reassuring for students who maybe you've never taken an anthropology course, but the description sounds interesting. So there is flexibility to take that and just see what you may be interested in without wasting time. The flexibility is integrated into the program. It's mandatory, really, that you explore your interests a little bit.
Can I add something? Yeah, if we have enough time. Okay, so I totally agree. And so the university system here in Canada is quite flexible. That's why at UNB, I think probably apply to other universities as well. When you apply to university, you only apply to a degree program. And so which will provide you the flexibility to choose, go to a different direction once you finish a little bit taste of the program within the first year. And also one thing I want to add is, because I'm originally from China, because I experienced this culture difference. So I know, when you go to the market and looking for a job, the Canadian employer, it's pretty much looking for not only the degree, but also more importantly, and what you can do for them. So what they care about is, if I put you in this position, can you make a profit for me tomorrow? So I think that, goes back to the, importance of, how practical skills are important for this job employment process, and that how important the co-op programs, for a student to choose. And at UNB, we highly encourage every student to consider the co-op program, because we feel it's very, very helpful when they go to market and find employment.
Thank you. I think there's probably another 2 minutes we can answer a question. Karuna, this probably you'd be able to answer this. Colleges offer diplomas, advanced diplomas, and fast-track diplomas. What's the difference between them?
The colleges offer diplomas, which are 2-year diploma. fast track diplomas are probably 1 year certificated diploma leading into a thing. But remember, a 2-year program is needed for your work permit situation, which you will explain later. But, and what is the other one? Fast track?
The advanced diploma, which is for 3 years usually.
Yes, the advanced diploma is specialization in a program that you've already done. So when you are doing an advanced diploma, the terminology is that you're taking a subject matter and you're going further into that to get greater detail. So you're going from the 2-year diploma is after high school, advanced diploma is usually after a degree. So you have already got a qualification and you're going to further advance that particular program. Different terminology by different colleges. There is no one set of rules. What the student should see is what are the prerequisites and requirements. In an advanced diploma, if I want to do advanced diploma in AI, I already have a degree in computer science, and I'm going to St. FX, and I'm going to do an advanced diploma in AI. So that is the transition for advanced. Fast track diploma is to do 3 semesters of programming and getting a diploma. Usually it's 4 semesters. Fast track is 3 semesters. Many colleges offer it, those kind of programs. I offer a degree called MBET in University of Waterloo, which is fast track, and it's a master's program. I wanted to add to that major thing, one thing that we have all started to add entrepreneurship as part of one of the minors to get jobs, to be more market oriented. So we are doing a lot of things to make students ready, market ready. And I think everybody has spoken about that. It has been a pleasure to be on this thing, Ganga. It is a wonderful thing. Thank you.
Thank you all. So it's like it's really been an amazing session. I think what we can summarize out of this is that Canadian education system offers a huge variety of credentials at the undergrad level, like diplomas, university transfer programs, 3 to 4 years bachelor's degree, and so on. A million thanks today to our expert panel as they've helped clear a lot of doubts. I can see a lot of thank you messages sent by parents and students in the chat box. Thank you all for making this a very successful and engaging session. And to the students, your individual questions will certainly be answered by our counselors if you've given us your contact details. We urge you to register and attend our next topic for tomorrow, 28 Jan. It is about Canadian job market and the post-study work opportunities for students in different provinces in Canada. And that is at 5 p.m. Indian Standard Time. Do register at www.canamgroup.com. Meet you all there. And thank you once again. A zillion thanks to all our panelists.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Bye-bye.